Hi, have you ever thought about what your perfect day would look like? Where you would go, what you would do, maybe what you would eat, what you would see? Well, if you're like me, it really would depend on if I'm alone or if I'm with someone, and if I am with someone, who that someone might be, because everybody enjoys different things when they are with different people. So I know my perfect day would either probably somewhere in the middle or end with a bowl of popcorn for sure. And sometimes I would say maybe a walk in nature, depending on if I'm with a friend that enjoys that. Sometimes I would say even playing a video game with one of my daughters. We have a certain game that we like to play, and it's just a fun, relaxing time. I remember coloring with my mom as a little girl and even as an adult sometimes. It was just always so, stress relieving. So for my perfect day, I could pick a million things, but one of the things that I would always want to include in it would be joy. And that might sound a little cheesy, but as we talk today about the word joy, I hope that you will come with me, bear with me, and just put up with me as we sink into that word. I'm Jen with My Sister and Me Ministries, and I welcome you to this week's Face-to-Face Friday. Marianne and I have been walking through a series called Rising from the Valley. In this series, we have been focusing on the Psalms and talking through what it looks like to be really down deep in a valley, and then what it could feel like to rise up and how to do that. And it's interesting to me, I was at a women's conference about a year ago, and in that conference, we received a bag, and in my bag was a stone, just like everyone else's stone. But each stone says something different. And, they're chosen at random. So we don't know what we're going to get or what it's going to look like. So this is mine. And it simply says joy. And so when I think about joy, I think about how often God puts things in my path to remind me that He fills me with just that. Now this week, we are in Psalm 30. David is the author of this psalm, and as usual, he is calling out to God and asking God for help. Now, sometimes I just feel so sorry for King David, because I feel like just people are chasing him and he is always in a bind. And don't you feel that way sometimes? Like our life can just be one thing after another. And I know for me, at least these last few years, there's been a lot of beauty and a lot of great stuff, but there's also been a lot of heavy stuff, mostly for people that I love. And it is hard to believe that what David says in this psalm is true sometimes. So let's get into it. Psalm 30, I'd like to read it really quickly for you. I will extol you, O Lord, for you have drawn me up and have not let my foes rejoice over me. O Lord my God, I cried to you for help, and you have healed me. O Lord, you have brought my soul up from Sheol. You restored me to life from among those who go down to the pit. Sing praises to the Lord, O you his saints, and give thanks to his holy name. For his anger is but for a moment, and his favor is for a lifetime. Weeping may tarry for the night, but joy comes with the morning. As for me, I said in my prosperity, I shall never be moved. By your favor, O Lord, you made my mountain stand strong. You hid your face, I was dismayed. To you, O Lord, I cry, and to you, the Lord, I plead for mercy. What profit is there in my death if I go down to the pit? Will the dust praise you? Will it tell of your faithfulness? Hear, O Lord, and be merciful to me. O Lord, be my helper. You have turned for me my mourning into dancing. You have loosed my sackcloth and clothed me with gladness, that my glory may sing your praise and not be silent. O Lord, my God, I will give thanks to you forever. Now, if you study the Psalms at all, you will come across the information that David actually wrote this psalm for to be read over the revealing of the temple in Jerusalem. And this was way after David actually died. And when I think about that, I think about there may come a time where I might not get to see, all my prayers answered and see all those things that I'd like to see. But David says, weeping may last in the night, but joy comes in the morning. What does that mean? Does that mean that if I'm having a bad day, I'm just going to sleep on it and tomorrow it's going to be all, roses? It doesn't mean that at all. I wish that it did. And you know what? Sometimes it can mean that. Sometimes God can correct something immediately. He can bring us through a trial in a day. But most of those struggles, most of our valleys don't last 24 hours, do they? Let's be real. A lot of these things can last a month, a year, maybe even a lifetime. Joy comes in the morning. For my morning, it may look different than your morning, but I can tell you this. When I have flipped through the pages of my prayer journal recently, I've come across a few specific prayers, one particularly that I've seen written for over 2 years, the same prayer, almost daily. And morning has come. I have seen it answered. And I can't tell you the joy that I felt when I looked back at those notes that I'd written, probably with tears in my eyes, and to see that tears were still there, but they were of joy and not of sadness. He filled my heart with gladness. Do we sing praise to the Lord even in those moments that are hard? Marianne and I have talked about this time and time again. It almost seems like every week it's brought up that in order that we may take our focus off of the valley, we need to put our focus on Jesus, the Savior. He walks with us through the valley, but he also lifts us out of the valley. Does he also allow a valley? Absolutely. Can we grow in the valley? Yes. Can we appreciate those mountaintop experiences even more because of valleys? Probably. I think so. For me, joy comes in so many forms. It isn't always about just being happy and all of that, but it is about a position of my heart. I want my heart to be ready to receive whatever God has for me, to live with my hands open wide for whatever he has, and to know and to trust that whatever he places in them is going to be used for my good, because I've been called according to his purpose and I love him. You can have that same promise. It's for you. Joy will come in the morning, but it isn't always overnight. So as we focus on God and as we remember what Jesus told us in John chapter 15, that we need to abide in him, remain in him, remain in his word. He says, I give you joy that you may have it to the full, to overflowing. And some translations even say, I want that. I want overflowing joy. Anything that you are going through today, ladies, he can help you through. Our trials don't end because of us, because we're so good. They end because he is so good. And I want to just ask you that as you think about that this week, and as Marianne and I continue to pray for you through this series, that if your valley has become deeper and you just can't see a way out, that you would hold on to him, that you would sing his praise, find a way to lift your hands in worship and let him have all that you are. Ask him to bring the joy. Ask him to bring it to the full. Ladies, we love you, and we will keep praying for you. And we just ask that you remember to hold fast to hope.